Hey everyone. So we just started season 73, and it's been kind of a slow start, especially using just rifle zooks and isn't for everyone, but just like any season, gotta make the most of it. So we'll kind of show our progress from this rank 1 account all the way until, well, how far we got. And of course at the beginning, just using full-on rifles, clearing most buildings, especially when there's like baby machine guns or not even flames yet, just to run all rifles and let them go, which usually just got the job done. And it's good for no instant training too, because rifles train super fast. But we saw kind of quickly we faced a trouble with people upgrading machine guns. Because when you have bases with a bunch of machine guns actually leveled up, and well, now there's no shock bombs, there's no critters, in fact, no abilities at 2 ER, there's not much we can do if you don't have Zookas yet. And ours was only level 2, so they're not doing too much damage. So like we tried all rifles, but you can see they just get demolished by those machine guns. So the hardest part of our push was kind of the early like rank 2, rank 3, rank 4, just getting enough tokens to get Zookas maxed out. And once you can upgrade Zookas, even level 4 I think is good enough to start using them. So now on these compact bases you can kind of stagger some rifles and usually take like 3 or 4 Zooks. The big part that not only now at 2 ER but we're pretty sure we're gonna see at 3 ER and 4 is just the fact that you drop Zooks right away, then keep on staggering the rifles. And that's kind of when you drop one rifle, let that line of them go to the kind of black and yellow line, drop another one, and you keep on doing that until all 4 or 5 rifles. And that way you have like a whole line of them going along. So the machine guns flames, they're gonna kill rifles in a few seconds anyways. So if you stagger them, there's kind of all that distance of just distracting buildings. And sometimes you still lose some Zooks, but for the most part, rifles die as they go, but your Zooks stay alive. And pretty much any base, at 2 ER at least, with some upgraded machine guns, that's how we're hitting them. And we did that all the way to rank 10, which we kind of stayed 2 ER for quite a while. I think my rule of thumb is, if you can stay 2 ER and you're still winning, then just why not? But we still eventually went to 3 ER, picked up shock bombs, and just enough for Kavan. He has some strong offense, and especially now that you have some mines and all these splash defenses. And a first hit with Kavan, facing mines, I've noticed that a really fast hit is kind of switching back to full-on rifles, especially if there's no mines. And even though this guy has some, I think they're only level 4, so you can use ice shields, which is kind of the best ability for once. Like on this base, there's 1 ER on the right side, so you can just drop 1 Zook there. But keep Kavan with the main pack, he kind of serves as a super medic, not only healing the rifles up, but with his hero perk, whenever he heals anything, they take less damage from any buildings, any mines. And really just using those ice shields for first priority mines, even boom mines because rifles kind of clump up. But if not that, using it for around flames, kind of as an alternative to shock bombs. Because that shield kind of gives rifles just extra troop health, and just more time for them to survive through all that splash. Some guys with hot pots too, so also gotta make sure that as soon as they pop up, you do that shock. Timing is kind of tough, so you can kind of play around with it. If you shock too early, then, well, it stays underground. But if you shock too late, then it starts hitting your rifles and it can do a lot of work. And once we hit rank 11, you can open up a bunch of chests. We kind of saved ours for rank 11 so we get a few more keys. And we want to go straight to 4 ER, so getting troop health, shock mines, upgrading them a bit. Because it's a rank 1 start, we're just a few keys short, so kind of suffer a bit. But upgrading even shock mines, boom mines to level 4 really helped out at just stalling them just enough to get some wins. And because we're ranked up a bit higher, now facing bases with at least maxed out mines. And kind of the rule of thumb is, if there's no mines, for the most part just take full on rifles and Kavan. But if there's mines, take around maybe 3 Zooks. So this one 1 ER on the right can do like 1 rifle Zook. We want to delay the left ones just a bit because if you drop them too early, then they're all going to go on the right side. And delay Kavan too, so if rifles get some damage, then Kavan can maybe stay on the left. But he was kind of dumb here and stayed on the right. Still dealing with it, like when the hotpot wakes up, you shock it. Looks like we might need another shock in this case. or maybe just a little lucky. But the whole reason with these kind of hits is, like, we don't have critters yet, so if there's mines, we can't use full rifles. Once they take enough damage, then they'll just die out. Like maybe later on with critters or especially medkit, we could use some more rifle hits. But at least right now, if there's mines, taking in just a few Zooks. And of course, if there's one more ER, can just flare it with a few shocks and speed up with the time. For this part of the season, now we can kind of think about like, well, how we like this meta. It is a bit different because, well, I don't remember any time I used Kavan's Ice Shields as the strongest ability. But at least meta-wise, because the decks are a bit narrow, for the most part it's just the same kind of hits. If there's ERs on the right, do Zooks there, but at least for the left side, there's no real options to be a lot faster. It's just managing GBE, make sure you use shields at the right time and shock the right buildings. It might get a bit different once we go more into 4 ER and get bombers. Right now, just getting some practice in, making sure we time the shields at the right spot, especially for mines, and if there's a bunch of like flames grouped up like there, sending in a few shocks. This guy also had a laser beam, but because it's only level 1 laser and we have no building damage, you can see it almost does nothing. So a big reason why we don't want a laser beam, and between a microwave and a hot pot, they both do splash, but a micro you can always shock, but a hot pot you have to do once it goes up. It's a little more difficult to deal with. Could even be a bit aggressive, learning that last ER. Just kind of being aware of how much GBE you have. If you know there's enough for shocking all the splash, then just go for it. Clear that ER and take it down. But once we did hit rank 12, that's enough for 4 ER, so just open that up. And because this is a rank 1 account, we thought about troop damage and we did eventually get it. Just because you don't need to hit a super high rank on day 1. Like even on this push, we'd be happy with like 13 maybe. And maybe like later in the day, try to push a bit more with your time chest. But as we go to 4 ER, now facing some other 4s. So you can see the deck layout goes a lot bigger. Still pretty narrow and not much you can do to be faster. But it's the same logic with 3 ER. If there's no mines, running full rifles, except sometimes when there's like 1 ER on the right here. And you want to make sure the rifles in Kavan already start working, so you can just drop them early and keep some flares out. If there is mines, maybe not really possible because all you need is 3 mines to kill a bunch of rifles. But in this case, letting them go, dropping a rifle Zook on the right side. And at this point just no other choice but to let them clear. A few shields and shocks kind of alternating, maybe saving GBE to flare like the last 1 or 2 ERs. But it's still that kind of meta where you're watching your troops clear almost everything. Maybe if the deck layouts were a bit different, you could have more strategy behind it, or like split drops. But still dealing with this kind of meta. There were a lot of just a few second wins and losses, so it might be a bit of a grind. So if you can deal with that, it would be okay to push. And like on this base, really being aggressive with flares just because we do have that GBE. Like going straight between ERs, and then the last one too. And at least right now, like 4 ERs without mines, getting around 230, those kind of times. And then as we got closer to 13, facing a lot more 3 ERs with kind of everything. Everything as in like a hot pot and building health. But same principle that because they have mines, we want to go rifle Zooks, still using ice shields. And as soon as you have a bunch of mines, just start using the shields. Later if we get critters, then we can kind of alternate using either critters or shields for mines, but right now, Kavan's like the only thing we have against mines. Shock bomb still when there's like a bunch of flames right there, especially for the hot pot. So kind of watching out for it. Some people can get critters at 3 ER, but I think the 4 ER deck layout is just a lot better. And even after that, want to get mines ourselves. After that, still get some troop damage, critters for our own, which should be enough offense I think to deal with most bases. And of course other people can get even more defensive, going for mortars, critter launchers. But I think next video and as we go throughout the season, we'll see how that plays out. Because even right now, it's not like we have so much GBE, so you can already tell where critters would help out or even these last few mines. But then finally, that's going to be 13. And we kind of are happy with that, at least for this early start push. And also it doesn't give us any other unlocks. So we do want to wait like 8 hours, one time chest to get a hot pot, some other mines. And then we'll go all the way down for building health, then pick up critters, and probably more into Fort ER. We saw even a few people with bombers, but they weren't a lot faster. And I think that's only right now because, well, if you rush bombers, you go through medkit and GBE. It's a lot of keys you're not spending on some other defenses. So maybe we see more bomber action like as the days go by, once we have the tokens and keys for some other buildings. The one thing we're really looking forward to is, I think it's like maybe 5 days in the season, rushing to rocket choppas. So it's a big reason why we're not going to get mortars or critter launchers or even boom cannons. Would rather kind of stay in, let's say 15, 16, all the way till RCs. Because even if one of that tech, let's say like mortars, gets you 1 rank, if you wait till RCs anyways, you'll probably rank up just like that. And then using that chest for some other things supporting those choppas, like artillery or even some GBE. So for a kind of long term, that's a plan. But let me know what you think about the start of this season, how you're liking this Rifle Zook meta with these kind of decks. But that's going to be it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.